500cc Suzuki. It's a clean getaway, and down to Old Hall Corner on lap 1 they all go, and straight into Old Hall Corner, leading away. It's Marshall, but Marshall is immediately passed by number 8, Wayne Gardner, and behind them is Ron Haslam. So it is a Honda, 1000cc Honda leading, the Suzuki alongside him. A Honda in 3rd place as they go round Cascades and up the long drag to Island Bend. And up into Esso. That's a 50-mile-an-hour second gear corner. Out of Esso, along the 120-mile-an-hour stretch to Knickerbrook. In line of stern, and it's Wayne Gardner, the Australian, who is riding under a British licence, who has already taken the lead. And it looks like it's going to be Honda all the way, because Roger Marshall in 2nd place is the leading Suzuki rider. And behind him, it is Ron Haslam. And now it's a battle for supremacy between Wayne Gardner and Roger Marshall as they go up into Druids. Out of Druids down to Lodge Corner. Number 8, Wayne Gardner. Number 11, Roger Marshall. Keith Hewen, number 16 on the Suzuki 500 is well up. Almost at the end of lap 1. Into lap 2. 9 laps to go, including the one that they are on, and it's Wayne Gardner leading into the right-hander and Old Hall. 90 miles an hour. Marshall 2nd. And who is in 3rd position? The answer is Ron Haslam. And now, Wayne Gardner, number 8, the Australian from Wollongong, New South Wales, 23 years old on the 998cc Honda, the man who came over last year and dominated the Formula One series on his Kawasaki machine, his Moriwaki Kawasaki, and this year he's riding in the official Honda Works team. He's leading his teammate, who is in 3rd position, Ron Haslam, and it's still Roger Marshall dogging the wheel tracks of Wayne Gardner. And just think of it, these engines are putting out some 130 horsepower through a patch of rubber which is the size of your hand, down from Druids again into Lodge. Now let's look. It's Wayne Gardner leading, Roger Marshall in 2nd place, Ron Haslam is 3rd. In 4th position, a fantastic ride, it's Keith Hewen, and Bob Smith is in 5th position, and Hewen and Bob Smith are riding 500cc Suzukis, which have only half the engine capacity of the leaders. Lap 3. 10-lap race, and there are going to be 2 legs, each of 10 laps to decide the British Championship. 15 points for the winner in each leg, 12 points for 2nd place, 10 points for 3rd position, and in each leg, £2,500 for the man who is home first. And Wayne Gardner looks over his shoulder. He sees, crowding him, Roger Marshall. Behind Roger Marshall, it is Haslam, Ron Haslam in 3rd position, into Esso Bend again. That is the 3rd lap. 50 miles an hour round Esso. They accelerate out. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 120 miles an hour up to Knickerbrook. 140 miles an hour as they go over the crest. And just watch their knees, especially on the right-hander at the end of the lap at Lodge Corner. You'll see their knees touching the ground. They wear special nylon studs on their knees to stop the leather from wearing out, and here they come. And it's still the Honda of Gardner, followed by Marshall, followed by Haslam, followed by Hewen on the 500cc Suzuki. And Hewen is riding a fantastic race, number 16, on a machine with half the engine capacity of the 3 ahead of him. He's had a terrible season, but now on lap 4, there is Gardner. What a terrific race. And the Auto Cycle Union, the governing body of British motorcycle sport, have certainly had their decision vindicated to make the British Championship be decided over one race meeting. Most of the competitors have taken part in qualifying rounds, but the top men, like these 4, have been seeded through. And as a result, the championship will be decided on the basis of these 2 legs at Autumn Park. And it's still Wayne Gardner leading on the 1000cc Honda. Behind him, Marshall. Behind him, Haslam. Behind him, Ewan. Then it's Bob Smith. And in sixth position, it's Graham Wood on the 750cc Yamaha. Rocket Ron Haslam, the third of these three riders, the reigning world champion in the Formula One category, the TT winner of 1982, who's also previously won the Formula 3 World Championship, and he's third as they come down into Lodge Corner. And Ewan is trying to go through on the inside of Haslam, and Haslam has just come back from 3 days, officially holiday in California, but in point of fact, he has been testing the brand new 3-cylinder and 4-cylinder Hondas for the Works team in Grand Prix in 1983. And this is the half-distance lap 5. And it's Wayne Gardner, number 8, on the Honda, leading Roger Marshall, number 11, on the Suzuki. And there he is. Then it's Haslam, then it's Ewan, then it's Bob Smith, and then in the white helmet, Graham Wood. And let's have a look at Roger Marshall, number 11, twice British champion already, 1975 and 1977. He comes from Rag. He's a man who has seldom been given the due that he deserves. He's a brilliant rider, tremendously forceful, and he's really come into his own this year, riding for the official Suzuki Works team. And look at the way that he's riding now, just ahead of Haslam, and keeping a watching eye on the leader, Wayne Gardner, and they are lapping at some 103 miles an hour. The lap record here is held by Randy Mamela, the American Works rider on the Suzuki, at 104.4 miles an hour, and Marshall is really crowding Gardner, and Haslam's going through on the inside. Haslam up into second place. Haslam, Marshall, Ewan, then it's Bob Smith and Wood. And this is great stuff. Ron Haslam is up into second place ahead of Marshall. We're on lap 6, and now it's Honda's leading. And first and second places. 23-year-old Wayne Gardner leading. There was Graham Wood in sixth position, and now here are the leaders coming up to Esso again on lap 6. And it looks to me as though Wayne Gardner, the 1981 UK sensation who's riding for the first year in a Works team for Honda, is starting now to pull away from the three behind him who are getting in each other's way. And Ron Haslam is making his charge now. He's passed Roger Marshall. It's Honda's first and second. We're on lap 6. It's a 10-lap race. And now the question is, can Ron Haslam catch up with and get past his teammate Wayne Gardner, who looks over his shoulder as they come into Lodge. Gardner, and it's Marshall going through to second place. Marshall's taking his second place back. Wonderful riding. Roger Marshall is certainly the last of the late breakers, and that is what Ron Haslam, who is in second position, is seeing. It's the gear change foot of the leader, Wayne Gardner, who is now on lap 7, and Marshall is back again in second place. Well, there's less than a second between the first four. In fifth position, coming round the left-hander at Cascades, it is still the 1981 British champion, Bob Smith. Behind him in sixth place, it is still Graham Wood. So, Honda leads, Suzuki second, Honda third. In fourth place, the 500cc of Keith Ewan, who's come right back to the top of his brilliant form that he had in 1981 before he fell off and hurt himself at Donington earlier this season, and it's taken him most of the year to get well again. And Keith Ewan is certainly riding absolutely brilliantly. Coming up to the end of lap 7, 3 to go at the end of this one, and now they come up to the 95-mile-an-hour right-hander at Druids, out of it, down to Lodge. Watch the knees come out as they change gear. It's Gardner, Marshall, Haslam, Ewan. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Graham Wood is up into fifth position. In sixth place, it's Bob Smith, and in seventh place, it is Vic Grant on the Suzuki, and this is lap 8. 3 to go, including this one. And it would seem to me that Wayne Gardner has got everything thoroughly well organised from his point of view. He looks over his shoulder, and this time he sees not Haslam but Marshall. Wayne Gardner took the lead at the beginning of the race. He has held it virtually all the way. Now he goes into Esso Bend, that long, sweeping, banked right-hander. Roger Marshall's going to come up and try and take him as they go up to 120 miles an hour. Change up into top gear. 140 miles an hour. Over the rise at Knickerbrook. Down the descent, up Clay Hill, towards Druids. Well, they're getting spread out. It's Gardner, 1. Marshall, 2. Haslam in third position and dropping back, and he's being challenged by the 500cc Suzuki of Keith Hewitt. Now they're up amongst the tail-enders. Is there going to be a change? Because if one of these tail-enders gets in front in the way, then the lead could change. But Wayne Gardner goes through, right in his wheel tracks, Roger Marshall. And this is the penultimate, the last lap but one, lap 9. And Wayne Gardner knows that Roger Marshall is a very wily tactician. That's why the Australian is looking over his shoulder all the time to see where the opposition is. He is not safe. The opposition is not his teammate Haslam. And even if it was, Haslam would be riding just as hard for a win as Roger Marshall is. But it's Gardner into Esso for the last time but one. Now out of it. Once again, Marshall comes up behind him. And Keith Hewitt is dropping back a bit. There's now quite a long gap between Hewitt in 4th place and out around the circuit are going several riders, but it's still Gardner on lap 9. Only one lap to go at the end of this one. Through the left, up to the right, back to a tail ender again, and it's Ian Ratcliffe that they're catching. And it's Gardner, Marshall, Haslam and Hewitt. Honda, Suzuki, and the last of those Suzukis is a 500cc bike, and they're into the last lap. There's the signal. This is the lap that's going to decide it. Don't forget there's £2,500 hanging on who wins this race, and then there's a long gap, £1,000 for the second place man. And past Ratcliffe goes Gardner, past Ratcliffe goes Marshall. It's now got to be Gardner or Marshall, provided neither of them fall off. And Roger Marshall is on the crest of a wave of success in the 1982 season. He's ridden absolutely brilliantly. For instance, in the Ulster Grand Prix at Dundrod, he put up a new lap record at over 119 miles an hour on that road race circuit. Well, it's Suzuki power and braking against Honda power and braking now. The last lap. Out of Druids, down to Lodge, Gardner's home. He's only got now the last corner, and he's going to win the first leg of the British Championship race. No, he's not. Gardner goes through. Marshall goes through. Incredible. Marshall has braked later than Wayne Gardner and has won the first leg absolutely brilliantly.
I knew it was going to be an hard race after the Superbike one, and you know, the Hondas were in there, and then Ron passed me, and I got my finger out again, and then Wayne and I were together on the very last lap, and I thought I'll try and take Wayne where I did Ron on the last lap, but unfortunately I couldn't get by, and so it looked like it was going to be second place, but Wayne overshot the corner, so he handed me the race.
So, a magnificent win and 15 points for Roger Marshall, 12 for second for Gardner, 10 for third position for Ron. So, this is the clincher, the second leg of the Marshall Tractors British Championship, with 15 points and £2,500 to the winner. In the background, number 11, Roger Marshall, who won the first leg, and certainly is in a commanding position on the grid for the start and the drag down to the first corner. And that's Old Hall Corner. The third gear, 90-mile-an-hour bend, and this time It is not Wayne Gardner in the lead. He is in second place, and the man who leads away on his 1000cc Suzuki is the oldest man in the race, 38-year-old veteran Mick Grant on his Suzuki, the man who has already in his long career won 6 TTs and 2 World Championship Grand Prix. And he's never ridden better than he's riding this year. Just watch Mick Grant for style, leading into Esso Bend on lap 1. With the second place man from the first leg, Wayne Gardner in second place. Roger Marshall is in third place. Graham Wood on the 750 Yamaha is in fourth position on lap 1 out of 10. Gardner, Clay Hill, 140 miles an hour. Chasing Mick Grant, the leader. Under the bridge, and Mick Grant gets his front wheel right off the ground. Nearly did a complete wheelie backwards. Mick is really trying. Down to Lodge Corner at the end of lap 1, and it's number 10, Mick Grant on the Suzuki. Number 8, Wayne Gardner on the Honda. Then in third position, it is Keith Ewan with the big H on his back. And coming through, Graham Wood and Ron Haslam. And there is the rider's eye view of this Alton Park circuit at about 120 miles an hour, coming down into Old Hall Corner, the right-hander in the second lap. And it's still Mick Grant out there. Well, the weather conditions are absolutely perfect. The skies are blue, the sun is shining, you can see the shadows of the men and machines. The surface is absolutely dry, and veteran Mick Grant is absolutely reveling in it. He's on a works bike again. He really knows how to handle the horsepower, and there's some 130 horsepower underneath his right hand, as there is underneath the right hand of all the competitors in this race. So, Mick Grant, Roger Marshall, and Roger Marshall is in the second place that he held so commandingly all the way through the first leg. But behind him on lap 2 out of 10, it is still Wayne Gardner, the Australian, on the 1000cc Honda in third position. Up to Druids, out of Druids, that's a fourth gear, into fifth gear now, 115 miles an hour, down to Lodge, which is a 60-mile-an-hour bend, and Roger Marshall is staving off Wayne Gardner, so it's Suzuki leading, Suzuki second, Honda third, with Grant, Marshall and then Gardner on them, and in fourth position, a superb fourth position on lap 3 now. It is Keith Ewan on the leading 500cc machine, with Ron Haslam behind him in fifth place, with Bob Smith on the Suzuki, the British champion of 1981, in sixth position, and in seventh place it is Steve Parrish. Steve Parrish, the friend of Barry Sheen, who nearly won the British Grand Prix some years ago. He's on a 500cc Yamaha, but it's Mick Grant leading, Marshall second and Gardner third. Just as close a contest in the second leg of this British Championship meeting here at Alton Park as it was at the beginning, and Gardner's going through on the inside and taking second place from Marshall. Gardner's through to second place. Now, can he do anything about Mick Grant in front of him? Gardner on the Honda. It's very important, of course, to both Suzuki and Honda that one of their riders wins this British Championship of 1982, which has really been revived by the Auto Cycle Union. They've made the British Championship a real championship this year, and the man who wins it can truly call himself the British champion. Now, down to Lodge Corner in slow motion. Just watch this for style. With Gardner leading. Watch his knee come out of the fairing as he changes gear. Watch Mick Grant behind him in second place. In the black helmet with the white star, 1975 and 1977 British champion Roger Marshall. First, Gardner. Watch the chain of his Honda now. As it rides the bumps, and as Gardner accelerates away out of Deer Leap to complete the lap, and Keith Ewan is in fourth position, hanging on superbly on his 500cc Suzuki to the 1000cc machines in front of him, and keeping ahead of world champion Ron Haslam. as they go into lap 4. Into Old Hall Corner, now out of it, down to Cascades. The left-hander at 90 miles an hour with Wayne Gardner leading. Marshall second, Grant third, Hewen fourth, Haslam fifth. And they go from Cascades into fourth gear. 110 miles an hour to fifth, 125 miles an hour, round Island Bend. Brake hard, go down into Esso, down into second gear. And it's still the Suzuki of Roger Marshall in second place, chasing the Honda of Wayne Gardner, the leader. So we now have an exact repetition of the situation in the first 10-lap leg. Wayne Gardner leading the Australian with the British licence on lap 4 from the man who chased him all the way through the second leg. There are the third, fourth and fifth riders, and Ron Haslam is now up into fourth place ahead of Keith Hewen. Down to Lodge. Gardner in the red helmet on the Honda leads. Marshall is sizing him up. Don't forget that it was at this corner that Roger Marshall took the lead from Gardner on the last lap of the previous leg to win it, and that big prize money of £2,500. This is the half distance, lap 5. Gardner looks over his shoulder and he sees the baleful glare of Roger Marshall looking through his visor over the 130 horsepower, four-cylinder Suzuki four-stroke engine as they accelerate away up to Esso. It's Gardner, it's Marshall, in third place it's Hewen, in fourth place it is Haslam, in fifth place it is Mick Grant. And there are three Suzukis in the first 5, 2 Hondas in the first 5. And Marshall all the time is watching Gardner. And after the first leg, Wayne Gardner said to me, I blew it on the last corner. I knew that was where Roger Marshall was going to make his challenge. I over-braked, I got the line wrong. Roger went through on the inside of me. He is not going to do it next time, he said. Well, time will tell. This is the end almost of lap 5 as they come out of Druids towards us down to Lodge Corner. Still the first 4 virtually together, and Keith Hewen riding magnificently, number 16 in third position. Showing what a fine rider he is, showing that the fact that he hurt his wrist earlier on in the season was the thing that slowed him up, because he's right back on form now. Lap 6, third place, Keith Hewen, ahead of him Roger Marshall on the Suzuki, and leading Wayne Gardner, who looks over his left shoulder as Roger Marshall comes up on the right. That is just to throw you, Wayne, says Roger Marshall as they now come up to Esso Bend. And 2 puffs of smoke from Wayne Gardner's Honda exhausts. Is he in trouble? Marshall's coming right up alongside his rear wheel, and now Haslam and Hewen are battling for third position. And Ron Haslam on the Honda is through and up into third position. So it's Honda leading and Honda third, sandwiching the Suzuki of Roger Marshall. 15 points for the winner, 12 for second place. And if they stay in the positions that they are in now, Wayne Gardner, the leader, and Roger Marshall in second place will be tying with 27 points at the end of this race. So Roger Marshall's got to make a challenge if he is going to be British champion for the 3rd time in his career. Gardner, Marshall, Haslam and Hewen virtually together as they complete the lap. Complete lap 6, go into lap 7. 4 laps to go, including the one that they're on, and Marshall leads. Roger Marshall's gone through. He's made his challenge earlier than he did in the first leg. He has taken the lead from Wayne Gardner, and now the big 130 horsepower Suzuki of Roger Marshall, the man from Rugby, whose wife and child are here to watch him today, has gone into the lead, and now it's his turn to worry. It's his turn to look over his shoulder. Number 11, Roger Marshall, black helmet, white star, with a matching gold earring in his left ear. Roger Marshall leads. Wayne Gardner second, and Gardner's not taking it lying down. He's going to fight back and try and retake the lead as they go to the fastest part of the course. 140 miles an hour on the approach to Clay Hill. And now Haslam is through. Fantastic. Ron Haslam has gone through from third to first. Wayne Gardner is in third position now. Roger Marshall is second. Hewen is fourth. And Mick Grant is still fifth. What a race. And now watch the experts taking their time in slow motion with the new race leader wheeling his way down to the right-hander at Lodge. It's Rocket Ron Haslam, back from America after his testing session with the 1983 Works Hondas in terrific form. Number 2, Haslam. Then Marshall, then Hewen in third place. Right alongside Wayne Gardner, both of them just ahead of Mick Grant. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, through virtually together to complete the lap. Now it's lap 8. Now Haslam leads. Now Marshall is second. Now Hewen is third. Challenged by Gardner. Challenged by Mick Grant. And the thousands of enthusiasts who have come to Oulton Park today to see this have never, ever seen better racing than this. The British Championship, rightly named in 1982, and Ron Haslam, who finished third in the first leg to get 10 points, looks as though he is on his way to 15 by winning the second, to give him 25 points in all. But now Roger Marshall in second place is leading the championship on aggregate if he can stay where he is. Lap 8, 10-lap race. Each lap 2.76 miles long. The lap record, 104.4 miles an hour, has been challenged but not beaten. Ron Haslam has just gone round in 1 minute 36.3, 103.2 miles an hour, which is half a mile an hour slower than the fastest lap by Roger Marshall in the first leg. And it's Haslam leading, Marshall second, Wayne Gardner number 8 in third position, then the 500cc Suzuki of number 16, Keith Hewen, as they cross the line into lap 9, and Mick Grant is still there fifth. Behind Mick Grant in sixth position now, it's Steve Parish a long way back. Then it's the 1981 British champion Bob Smith in seventh place and Graham Wood on the Yamaha in eighth position. But this is the battle. Haslam, Marshall, Gardner, Hewen and Grant into Esso. Lap 9, 1 lap to go at the end of this one. Well, Rocket Ron does not seem to be at all jet-lagged in spite of his double Atlantic crossing since the previous weekend, in spite of the strain of testing next year's works bikes for Honda. He's right back on top of his form, and now Gardner is closing up on Marshall in second place. The first three separated by, I would think, about half a second, if that, as they go under the bridge at Clay Hill, down to Druids, into the 95-mile-an-hour right-hander, towards us at Lodge for the last time but one, and it still is being led, the British Championship second leg, by the 1000cc Honda of number 2, 26-year-old Ron Haslam from Langley Mill. Marshall is second. On his left, your right, Wayne Gardner. Just behind them, the 500cc Suzuki of Keith Hewen, ex-British champion himself. Heel it over in glorious slow motion. Now you can see the style, you can see the suspensions flexing, you can see Gardner closing up on Haslam, and Gardner has got the right line to take Haslam's second place as they come through at the end of lap 9 to complete that lap and start on the last. But it's still Marshall leading. Haslam second, Gardner third, Hewen fourth, Grant fifth. And they streak round the left-hander, down to Lodge, and Gardner. Marshall leads. Marshall leads into Lodge and out of it on the 10th and last lap. Roger Marshall has been watching Haslam and Gardner every inch of the way, He's got their line totally organised. I'm wrong, because Gardner goes through. He's getting his revenge. Wayne Gardner, the Australian, goes through. He fights the machine, and Roger Marshall's going to try and take the lead back from him as they go into Esso, or will Ron Haslam come through? Or even Keith Ewan? The British Championship is going to be decided in the last yards of the last lap of the second leg. Is Roger Marshall going to win £5,000, or is he going to keep that second place and drop his winnings to 3,500? And will Wayne Gardner get his revenge? We will soon know. They're coming down to the last corner. And this time, Roger Marshall can't get through. I think he can't anyway. Wayne Gardner goes into it. Wayne Gardner is home and dry. He's going to win this second leg. He's going to get the 15 points. He's going out of Dearly. Marshall right behind him, then Haslam. And as they go across the line, it's Marshall. Marshall's done it. Roger Marshall's got through. He's won. Fantastic. And as Steve Parrish finished sixth, there is Mrs. Charles Nickerson of Marshall Tractors giving the British champion of 1982 the laurel wreath, the cup, and the champagne that goes with it, to tell Roger Marshall that he is indeed a very well-deserved British champion again.